You recently insinuated that Mac 10 and Ice Cube were not being 100% truthful when it comes to the reasons as to why Westside Connection broke up. Can you go into more detail about that?
Yeah, yeah. They've both recently been speaking on it a little bit in the press. This is what really happened, y'all. This is what really happened. And you remember Mac 10 had this song, which is ironically funny, because this is how the conversation came up with me and CJ Mac initially. And he was just telling me how me and Mac is not real, when he was signed to his label and stuff. He said, I'm from 60s. I grew up in the 60s area. And Mac, with the Inglewood dudes. He said, I went over, Mac come over my hood, my dudes embraced them and all of that. He said, when Mac come, when I go to Mac hood, little Pyru dudes was pressing and stuff. And Mac couldn't say nothing, wouldn't say nothing. And they were pressing me and stuff. He was like, man, those dudes don't respect Mac over there. And I like Mac. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of like Mac. Mac is low key. Y'all don't know that haven't heard. He done put on a lot of concerts, and he be doing a lot of work behind the scenes, like some management and stuff like that. So he putting his money to work. But what really happened for the breakup is they were about to go on this big Westside Connection tour sometime in early 2000s, mid 2000s. The Badal and all of that when it was hot. And a little bit after that, they were about to go make some money. But in the meantime, Ice Cube and his wife have a great relationship. One that's like, a Cookie and Magic Johnson and, people that's been together for a while that stuck with their woman. And they've been together for a while. And so she kind of like run and deal with a lot of stuff. But Mac 10 have a Pyru blood entourage, and they have Crips entourage, right? Not saying anybody gangbang or anything like that. But the entourage is us. And some of Mac 10 do rob his wife. I think her name is Kim, I forget her name. But robs his wife's brother. And she was furious. Mac 10 wife was furious. Not Mac 10, I'm sorry. Ice Cube wife was furious. So she told Q, nah, you ain't making no money, you ain't doing nothing with him. And she put the smash down. Now, one thing I do like about him, and I got this from this horse's mouth, Dub C, she was like, we ain't doing it, but Dub C and Mac needed some money. They were, depending on this tour. She took care of Dub C. Mac 10, Ice Cube and the wife, they elected to pay Dub. That's why Dub and Cube are still cool to this day. But she said, we ain't messing with Mac 10 no more. And he ain't making no money off of us. And so that's the real to why Dub C still mess with Q, but Mac 10 and their relationship is not great to this day, is because quite frankly, Mac 10 can control his homeboys and his entourages, and cost him money from touring Westside. But like I said, Mac doing his thing now, doing some touring and putting some stuff on behind the scenes, and Dub C and Cube, they still do little shows here and there, doing their thing. So yeah, they not putting out the truth to you guys of why Westside Connection reunion or shows don't and didn't happen. But hey, y'all listen to Reg. Reg know this shit. Y'all can believe what y'all want. I just don't like niggas lying to y'all. I just set the record straight. Bet you none of them will tell me I'm lying. That didn't happen. Bet you that.
Did you see where he was interviewed as well, and they kind of asked him about signing Snoop, and he went as far as to say that like the paperwork was done? Did you see that?
Snoop might have beat him out some money. Mac wasn't that smart of a businessman. But do y'all think Brian Turner, Priority Records back then, was going to distribute something when he was on death row? When he was still had paperwork with Suge Knight and stuff like that, and they had our catalog and all of that stuff, and Brian know the get down of Suge Knight and his employees. I mean, Mac's biggest deal, he got $6 million. That was a big deal. Riding around, got T-bar, riding around in a Rolls and all of that back then. That was his deal with Priority. When he signed CJ Mac, he signed a whole bunch of little groups. But he gonna sign Snoop? Mac 10? What would that say if Snoop would have went and signed a Mac 10? But that was just Snoop running around trying to get some money back then. And them not knowing the business. Because we would have loved for Snoop to got that money from Mac. We wouldn't have cared. But we know shit would have never came out under underground. Not while Reggie Wright was running Death Row. And that was during that time. Reg knew how to go knocking on doors. Reg sent paperwork to your attorneys. He get the Mike Kleins and the Jewish boys on the phone and be like, hey, y'all boys out of place. Get them in line. That's how I did business. Huh, Norman Steele? Ain't you learning that, Norm? Gangster Chronicles, ain't y'all learning that? Ain't y'all been getting no paperwork? Y'all know. Y'all see how Reg really fights. Reg don't, I can't do shit. I'm all fucked up. I can't go do nothing. But I know how to get shit shut down. Get people to talking. I'm trying to make deals with you. That wasn't gonna happen. So people do all that talking and saying what they could have do. Bottom line, for Snoop to leave, he got $4.5 million, meaning Suge Knight, from Brian Turner, who Mac 10 was signed to, and it's 5 or 7% override. But Mac 10 was gonna get it done for free. Mac 10 only had a deal for $6 million at the time with Who Bangin' Records. So it might have been a good investment if he could have made it happen. If Brian would have elected to let Mac 10 give up $4 to $5 million, I don't Suge would never did it for that amount, but for $4.5 million to Suge Knight, he would have laughed. He might would have did it, but Brian Turner wasn't gonna do that because Mac had spent up all the money. Anyway, ask CJ Mac and them. Ask anybody that don't sign the Who Bangin'. Ask them. See what their records did. Tell me what they did. But that would have been my play. Somebody gave me $6 million, I would have took and gave Snoop 4.5. I mean, Suge 4.5, and invested in Snoop. It might have been the play, but they had already went through most of that money in. And I think he signed up about 6 or 7 artists then when he had that little money. But that was my boy Marvin Watkins, who was managing Mac at the time, and all of them. I don't know. I don't know. I know they were talking about doing a song Distant Death Row and all of that. Come on. Come on. Muggsy and them gonna protect you that well back then, Mac. All right. Okay. You're right. Cap, y'all. Niggas be capping. Niggas be capping. Sound good? 2023. When the man away. Sound real good. But niggas just be capping.